Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another episode dissection of season 2 of Halo, straight on Paramount Plus. This is episode 2. I have my other co-host here, Busy. What's up, man?
Man, I'm excited to talk about this, and I feel like that's a good feeling when it comes to this show. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah,
we don't. I feel like I don't get too hyped about it, but this episode had some moments, and I'm ready. I'm ready for sure.
yeah. I was worried that it was gonna be like, you got a hype first episode, and then it's gonna be a lull, and
hmm
we got a whole bunch of exposition.
And
Um,
I kind of
you,
want to start off by saying this. Now that I think about it, one thing this episode lacked a lot of the pirate storyline. I mean, I don't know, man.
so are we saying that Sloan is the issue? Like, not his wife, not his son. It's just.
It's just the pirate stuff, man. Like I don't know. It just When
I mean,
when we
I
got
don't.
something so exciting like the Spartans, I mean, it's just hard. It's hard to go, you know.
Yeah, because Soren as a character is not. It's not necessarily the actor. I
Oh
think it's
yeah.
the fact that the Spartans are so interesting in and of themselves. Now that they don't have chips in them, we can really dissect who they are, and they're very flawed soldiers at the end of the day. And like just taking the fact that in this episode we concentrate on Perez as a character. What was it, Perez or is it Rez? It's Rez, right?
Riz, yeah.
Yeah. So she, the last season she got hurt really bad, and she made it out, but as somebody said, it's not just the outside scars, it's your internal scars.
hmm
And just watching her trying to navigate still being a Spartan, still trying to be a part of a team and pushing herself, like it shows her strengths, but also the actress that's doing it, like she's doing such an amazing job. Because it's weird because they did a really good job with the action beats, with her specifically, kind of climbing and scaling and
Yeah,
running.
I thought that was gonna be its own thing, but I'm really excited to talk about that specifically because we mentioned that in the last episode. Like the way that they were running, they look like tanks.
Yeah.
So to see more moments like that, just the way everything was. I mean, obviously the CG isn't gonna be 100% perfect, but I was so satisfied with it. I mean, we knew what they were doing, but it was so fun to see just the big jumps. The scaling of mountains. Just everything was just done so well.
Yeah, and I mean, it's hard to sit there and have like VFX work with water as well. Like
Mm,
you have running water falling from, and then like a Spartan's costume falling in. So they had to use an actual practical suit as well as good VFX. And so I think that they handled that really well. But yeah, let's go ahead and kind of open up into this because the very opening of this, we got Halsey. Halsey
yeah.
is trying to get answers, trying to figure out what's going on. She's seeing this young little girl and asking her question, trying to coax her, so to speak, and the girl just drops dead, and we don't know what's going on because it immediately transitioned over to Riz. And with Riz, she's trying to deal with her own internal physical pain as much as her emotional. And I think that it's a really interesting transition they keep doing back and forth to kind of throw us off because I don't know the significance of the girl Julia that we find out later on that's her name, but we just know every single time Halsey is trying to get information, she keeps dying. And so
Mhm.
for you seeing Halsey back, I know that that was a plus because she's a very interesting character. What was
For
your take
sure.
on bringing her back?
So I love the fact that we're finally like honestly, I don't know if we're diving into this yet, but like to realize that the place she's at isn't actually like a physical space. It just, it felt it was like kind of like a matrix, if you will. Um to see her finally be the one in the chair and for them to kind of be playing with her mind, it's just so interesting to me, because like up to this point she was the one in charge, she was the one who was like making the monkeys dance, so now
Yep.
she's here and she's in that position, and it's so fun to watch, because it's
Yeah.
like now we're gonna finally learn about her, and we're not gonna learn about just the stuff that she wanted us to know, as an audience. We're gonna learn
Mhm.
about stuff that made her who she is. I
Right.
feel like, and they already kind of dove into some things with that, talking about the little tree. She's like the only person that would know that would be, and she was going into a bunch of details, and I'm really excited to go even crazier into that in the upcoming episodes.
Yeah, when she said that and she was talking to Anderson, like she was kind of talking
Eckerson,
and
yeah.
alluding like is this like only person that would know something like that would be like my dad. I felt like that's what she was trying to say
Okay.
without saying it. But it's just weird how much he's lording over her.
Mhm.
Like he basically took her whole life essentially, and we still don't know what happened to her daughter because her daughter is a big part of the first season, and I don't know where she is. But
Exactly.
we do know that there's this interesting history of what Halsey did to her own daughter. It'd be very interesting if like he's got some kind of secret connection to Halsey, but
I don't know. It's gonna be crazy. I mean, there were so many moments in this episode that had us actually like gasping, and
yeah,
that's the last thing I expect to do with this show. I mean, just the moment where when Ackerson popped up, we were like, "Yo, wait, like what is going on?"
right,
And so I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up pulling something crazy like that, out of
yeah,
their back pocket because they're continuously like kind of catching us off guard. And I feel like it's a big step up from what we've gotten. I feel like I'm enjoying it a little more from season one. Like I'm not saying it's better, but I'm just saying with those like, those WTF moments, I feel like we're getting more of those, which is pretty cool.
yeah. I think there's is one thing of like shock value because you have like an action moment that shocks you. It's another thing when the
Yeah.
actual interesting storyline. Um, because I mean, using him in this episode, like he is very essential to the progression of the storyline. Like he is the thing that's the deterrent for John. Now he's the thing that's holding all the secrets. Not only is he holding John's secrets and keeping him at bay, but he's getting up in John's face. It's like, yeah, I need a master chief. The world needs a master chief. Anybody can be in a suit. And I was just like, the
Yeah.
audacity, the fact that he said some stuff like that,
It
he
was
got some
crazy.
power. He got
And
some power.
honestly, like this, I know this is like not really compared to the show, but it really reminded me of the real life situation with the people talking about, oh, we don't want to see his face. We just care about Master Chief. It's like,
Yeah,
it's basically what he said. It's like the world doesn't care about John. We don't need John. We need Master Chief. Like and it's like, I don't know when he was saying that, I don't know if he was implying that they could find someone else for the suit or like what he was saying there, but that's kind of where my head was at the same time. But at the end of the day, no one can do what Master Chief can. What
no,
John. I feel like it's not an easy task, but part of me was kind of reading it that way. The way he was
yeah,
the way his tone was. I was just like, okay, like is he talking about potentially like replacing him if John becomes a little too unstable, if you will, in his eyes? Because
yeah,
it looks like he's just looking for the like one statement to prove that John is unreliable
yeah,
just so he can kind of strip him of that power. But
yeah,
literally, if this guy didn't have that title, John would have been past that like 100%. Because this dude like is so lucky. John respects the hierarchy
yeah,
because like this dude only has his title. That's it. That's it.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
he knows it. He threw that right in John. He's like, yeah, I respect you, like loving the hierarchy. But the interesting thing is that he he's trying to control everything.
Hmm.
Like, he's trying to control Halsey, trying to control the situation. He's even got the element that John had, in addition to freaking Cortana. And he's pulling simulations to try to assess what's going on, can be controlled, so to speak.
Hmm.
And I don't know if that's because he's actually trying to save it or if he's trying to maintain control over everybody's perception of what's going on. I don't really know.
It's
Um,
like the fact that he's being so secretive leads me to believe it's the power that he
yeah,
cares about. That's it.
yeah,
In a
yeah,
world where there's actual like Spartans, where they're like physically more powerful than anybody, I feel like he would want to do anything in his power to have them in his control. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. And
So it's yeah.
yeah, he absolutely will if he has to or wants to try to replace John. And he's trying to groom somebody. He's trying to groom Kai. I think that honestly, he knows how strong she is, but he also knows that he can use her connection to John to make her feel like she's being biased and not being a proper soldier, and knowing full well that she's leading her own team to detriment because of John's instability, which technically he has. But he's just controlling and manipulative. Now she held her own. She kept her silence, but he broke her down emotionally, be like, you know, are you concerned about him? Like, and I was just like, this, like, Joseph Morgan is playing this role. Like, you love to hate him off of only 2 episodes.
For real,
Only
I'm not
two.
familiar too much with him. Like I knew him in other roles because of how iconic his character is. Where the fact, like I've never touched the Vampire Diaries or the originals, but
Mhm.
apparently his character is so iconic. I can't escape like an edit or just something with his character. You know, that's just
Yeah.
how good of at what he does. You know, he's just good at what he does. But I did want to mention that with the whole Kate thing. Um, so yeah, it looked like he was picking her apart, waiting, trying to just like you said, lay down the groundwork, lay down the seeds so she could potentially break in the future. And
Mhm.
I was like, okay, if this mission goes wrong, that could be her breaking point. And I truly believe that we were gonna see that go wrong in that episode. And for them to kind of cut the episode at like the 40-minute mark, 45-minute mark, where I honestly thought it was gonna go on for another 15 minutes. Like it caught me off guard because I truly thought we were gonna kind of see her kind of realize that maybe Master Chief is a little crazy or something like that in her eyes at least, and that it was gonna lead into the next episode where she like slowly, But now I'm a little I'm a little concerned. I really want to trust her, but obviously like things are adding up, and she's gonna question things.
Yeah, and she's human. Like, she cares about him because she cares, because she has feelings.
And I love that.
You you're gonna want to make sure that a person is checked. Like,
Hmm.
as a friend, you want to check somebody. Um, and
Uh,
yeah,
they've been diving into that so well, giving them these emotions and everything. And they did that earlier with Riz when what's her name? Is it Kate? Like she was talking to Riz and she said flat out like, to make that pain away, you could just, put the chip back in or whatever she said. And she was like, I'd rather die,
yeah,
because
put
it's
a
like
bullet in my
that
head.
is
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah, that's taking away from the person they've become, So it's like they're realizing how restrictive that was. They know how restrictive it was. So it's like to see them kind of become more of a person has just been so entertaining. Like the point where John is talking to the colonel or whoever she is, and he's like saying flat out like like you're gonna see these faces. Like it doesn't matter how much time is gonna go by. It's gonna hit you at the most random moments. Like he was being so human in that moment. Yeah, he was being brutal, but he was being so real. And it's just like these moments that are making them human or showing that human side of them. It's just so important, and it makes us connect with them so I don't know, they're doing such a good job with that. And it's just making me enjoy each individual character more. And I feel like the only character that I want to see them do that more of is with what's his name, Venick.
Rennet,
I
yeah.
feel like he's the only one that I feel like I want to see more of that, human side with, and I think it's gonna be really fun to see that.
Yeah, and it's interesting with Riz, like she kind of has a connection with a former Spartan who's now blind, by Tobias Wells himself and talking about Corden.
Yeah.
So Corden is playing a older recruit Spartan that is blind, but he's been trying to help benefit the situation and the cause. Like, he's still helping to help train and help weight training, but he's basically letting her know, like, you don't have to continue to do this.
Mhm.
But I respect your honor because I had that honor as well. And I was proud of the time I had with you. And he kind of introduced her to go and get basically physical therapy with therapy. I think the guy that she's interacting with basically is assessing what her real damage is. And he kind of points to her like, look, this is what's really going on. You got pain because of what happened. Like, you
Mhm.
feel like you missed a step and you're carrying that pain on, and it's more damaging the actual physical pain you're feeling. And I thought that was really interesting because initially I was like, is he got some kind of supernatural stuff going on? Like, I still don't know. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know who the heck that Joker is. Um, but it was really good to have his character kind of pop in. I thought it was really dope. Um,
And you mentioned that's when Riz's acting chops are coming out. When we had that healer, if you will, like making her pain, all of that come out. We just see that single teardrop. And
yeah,
you were not like I totally agree. Like that was just I don't know. There was something about that scene, like for her to finally be able to release her pain or release it all without maybe feeling like she was being judged. Because in her eyes, she knows she has to live up to these ideals of being a Spartan, and now
yeah.
that she can feel like it's just making things a little more difficult. So for her to actually be able to kind of release that, I feel like it was a big step for her character.
Yeah,
But
no,
I'm
absolutely.
the one thing that's terrifying me is that we're getting to know all these characters, and it's like I feel like one of these Spartans they're gonna fall by the end of the season, and that's really terrifying me.
No, I think that's what stakes are about. That's what's supposed to feel like.
And I
She's
truly
supposed
hope
to,
it's not Riz, because she's the one who said, "Oh no, Spartans live forever." I'm like, "Hey yo, relax,
yeah.
relax."
I don't know. I don't know. But it was another interesting thing that was the Master Chief thing because like Master Chief kept on pushing her and pushing her. Like he's like, we have to be ready, and
They're
he's
training. We
projecting.
should. Yeah.
And like he's not wrong, but he's projecting. And Kai tried to tell him like back off. And then finally he kind of goes and tries to search out the girl, finds her at her family's house. And this is a human interaction. Like she was just there with her family and her mom and her brothers. And they were like, what are your intentions with my, my sister and whatnot? And like, yo, how many bodies you got? What's your KD? And it's just like, it was so interesting because they're so human.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows this disconnect that he really has, even after talking to her, because she kind of gave him all these emotions of how she really felt about it. And he just kind of was like, yeah, it don't get any better. It's going to get worse. And it's just going to be more separation in time. That's about it. And it's that was a very interesting thing to see because the first season we saw him so emotionally compromised, we
Mm-hmm.
couldn't make those distinctions of him and his humanity. And it's just interesting that even after the chip's not there, he's still not completely there. But I also don't know if he's pissed at her because she didn't tell him or tell everybody the reason why what she saw
Yeah.
because she's guilt ridden and she's like, I don't know how unbelievable this is, and I couldn't tell them this. But I don't know. What was your take on that whole interaction?
I truly believe he was actually frustrated at first, but I think he started to kind of understand more because in my head, realistically, if she came forward and she ended up mentioning like what she actually saw, I honestly feel like they would shut her down immediately. They don't want to cause the public, a panic,
Yeah.
any of that. And considering what we've seen with Ackerson so far, I don't trust that he would actually respond to it in the right manner. You know what I'm saying? Like you think you, you think oh man, you think that they would show um Master Chief some respect with what he's done, so when he says what he saw, they're not gonna throw in like the crap that he's done in the past. And I feel like that's where Kai kind of came in, and that piece of dialogue is really important where she says flat out like you should leave the past, where it belongs in the past. Because I
Yeah.
feel like, Master Chief has overcome what he's the craziness. So
Yeah.
for them to continuously use that as an excuse not to trust him, I feel like it's kind of BS. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he's in a position where nobody is taking his word except for his team. So it's just making him look, So like I feel like just hearing her say that she saw what he saw, I feel like was enough for him to realize maybe okay, good. That he's gaslighting me into believing I'm crazy and I'm actually believing him. But now that I'm hearing it from someone else, it's good to know that I'm actually onto something because he starts to react and actually goes on that rogue mission as soon as he gets confirmation that what he saw was actually real. Because he could have
Right.
done that before, but I feel like he actually has doubts that maybe he does have a piece of, McKee in there, or he's a little crazy still. But it's just that confirmation that reassured him that I'm still that guy, so I can do what I need to do. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it was really important, and I truly love that he was able to have that conversation with her and get it out of the way, even if it didn't end up, you know, even if they don't end up finding out the truth, he knows the truth, and that's really all that matters to push the story up. But again, with her family, I truly believe that it was like great comedy for me. It was just so real, like they were so human, and it felt like I feel like that's experiences that I've had, like just the way that they were joking around. It was just so funny.
Mhm.
It made it so much more real. It was so much fun, dude. I truly
Yeah.
loved the way that they were talking. He said straight up, "Oh, I almost crapped myself because of the way John stared at him about the KD comment." Yeah, it was just. I feel like they handled that so well. It was so good.
Yeah, I do too. There's something I wanted to bring up though because you brought it up, and I'm gonna put it up here. So this is how Cortana looked at first.
Uh-huh.
Now, I'm gonna preface it like this: this is the first gen version of Cortana. I know that the original Cortana's voice from the games is still voicing the same exact character.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
she voiced it here. But make no mistake, this actor versus this
Yeah,
actress,
very
these are
different.
two different actors. And
Very
I
different.
don't know if the audience is going to feel it very jarring. I mean, some people didn't care for the first season anyway. But
Yeah.
for people that did like the first season, I think they're going to ask questions like,
Was it a total recast or did they do it for the story?
so remember, like she was white.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Remember, initially she was supposed to look more like Halsey,
Yeah.
and then now she kind of does. I don't know. She kind of looks like Halsey a little bit with the hair, but I don't know. Just a little
Nah,
jarring. And I
for
know
real.
it's petty to bring up, but I know that I want
It's
to bring it
enough
up
though.
here because
It's
people are going to talk about
yeah.
it. So
Yeah, it's definitely I feel like it's I wouldn't even call it petty. It's just such an obvious change in the fact that we don't even know exactly what it means, but at the same time, we kind of got a little hint or tease, if you will, in the first episode of season 2 when John goes to, as you called it, the AI brothel, and we
yeah,
see him, there, like she was like, "Oh, I can change my nose if you think it's better," and he's like, "Nah, nah, chill out,
yeah,
chill out, chill out, chill out."
yeah,
But it's clear that there's something not there,
yeah.
and I feel like eventually, maybe by the end of the season, when John
They'll
starts
bring it up.
piecing back everything, we're gonna have a camera turn, and then we're gonna hear Cortana talking, and it's gonna be the full on Cortana that we're familiar with, and it's gonna show that his head is finally pieced back together. But
Yeah,
it's gonna be something cool. I don't know, but I don't think that this is her final look, but it could be important story wise. But I'm really excited to see how it plays out.
yeah. We'll see. And then, last but not least, with this episode, before we give our rating, is this Joker comes back
Yeah,
and he's just wrecking how like these soldiers. Like I was like, man, that commanding officer is a punk.
no,
Like he
for
doesn't
real.
sit there and just be cannon fodder. But of course, the sword comes out and he starts slicing them like he's freaking Batman.
Bro, he has this whole hallway fight. Like he looked like Darth Vader, dude. Like there
Yeah,
was more lighting in that scene in the beginning than the long night from Game of Thrones. Like that season 8 episode 3, like the lighting was terrible. And at first I'm like, okay, are they gonna actually show what's shredding apart these soldiers? And then at the end when he turns on the energy sword and it like lights up
yeah,
everything, I'm like, oh sheesh. And we got shots like that in the first episode that
yeah,
were done to perfection. So to
yeah,
see it again, I was like, "Oh my god!" Like these hallway scenes, like I feel like we get them in a lot of different forms and different media. Whether it's Daredevil, Star Wars, Darth Maul did it. I mean, they're always so badass, bro.
yeah,
So it was really cool to see.
yeah. But it's revealed that McKee, some kind of a way, is alive. And again, I'm gonna leave it at that because I don't, I don't know what the freak's going on.
Yeah,
I don't know how she's still alive.
I'm
But
hoping they
yeah,
don't explain it like you explained it though. Somehow she's alive. That would be terrible.
but nonetheless, I'm excited to continue to go. I think this is actually, if not as good an episode as the first episode, it might be a little bit better than the first episode. I actually rate this at a 9. I actually really freaking thought this was a really good episode. But what was your rating on this
I
episode?
think the same thing, 8.59, and like again, I truly loved it, and the fact that it went by so fast. And I'm over here like again, I feel like I don't this isn't to come at the show, but I feel like I've never been in the position where I'm like, "Oh, I want more." You know what I'm saying?
But
I've been excited for more, but like for the episode to end and I'm like, "Whoa, that's it? That's it?" Like I don't really feel that much with this show. So
mhm.
for me to be in that position, I feel like it just shows a little bit. And again, I hate to crap on what they're doing with that B plot or whatever you want to call it with the whole pirate thing, but them pushing that aside. And we didn't even talk about Quan, like that training arc, whatever. We didn't even talk about none of that.
Man, look, we ain't gotta talk about her parkour, Tony Jaa skills, and
Michael
her
Scott
like
type stuff,
whipping
bro.
her ear out. Like, nah, I ain't talking about that, bro. Look,
Yeah, man, we
it
just
is
kind of
what it
brushed that
is.
aside, bro. But she was
It's all
going
right.
crazy.
It's all
I don't
right.
know. She turned into Nathan Drake with the way she
It's
was doing all that nonsense, bro. I didn't know what was going on.
yeah,
But you made it your mission to not talk about
oh
that.
no, I did not, and I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm not gonna talk bad about this chick, and I
Yeah,
think
no, no, no. Yeah.
I think they're handling her a lot better this season than
Yeah.
they did first season. I believe.
I feel like if they're gonna make her a badass, I feel like I'm really excited to see what they do with that.
do that,
But
right?
again, I feel like a little bit that we got of that storyline in this episode is what they should keep it at. You know, I truly believe that. But again, I rated a 9.
Yeah. So you've heard it here first, you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed our review. If you guys wanted to kind of like spoil yourself and watch this, please go back and watch our non-spoiler discussion on it. We gave a brief 10-minute excerpt on what we think about the first 2 episodes. But nonetheless, Busy, thank you guys. Thank you for coming, man.
Always,
Can you
man.
plug your content?
Same thing, Busy Braun everywhere, Busy Reactions on Instagram. But I'm looking forward to maybe uploading some clips or reactions if I can of this. And if you're interested in that, let me know. But you can find all my stuff on my YouTube channel. And I'd appreciate the support. Yeah.
Hey, y'all heard it here first. I'm busy. But we're gonna go. We'll be back for more episodes. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you like, subscribe to the bell button. Go and subscribe to his channel. I'll put it in the description bar below. We out, y'all. Peace.
Peace out, man.
Filing out the top of the
I can see the skyline, 50 mile radius on my timeline. Ain't nothing